There's only one river running through the Forbidden City. It's called the Inner Golden River. There's no gold inside. It's called the Inner Golden River, used as a place where people can retrieve water from if there are any fire emergencies took place in the Forbidden City. When it rains, the river can also drain the rainwater out of the Forbidden City to protect the Forbidden City from being flooded. Okay? Each of those marble pillar head has 24 different patterns, representing 24 solar terms throughout the whole year. Okay? So the movie was filmed around the time of 1980s and won 9 Oscar Awards in 1988. The Boy Emperor. Let's have a look at this boy. The Boy Emperor who succeeded the throne right here in this palace at the age of only 3 years old. Okay, let's. 3 years old. His father is kneeling next to his son. His father was not the emperor, but he was the emperor. This is how it looked like inside the palace, supported by 72 wooden pillars. Well, let's continue. You see this boy who couldn't sit still, and his father was trying to calm him down. And his father said, "Did you hear that? What did his father say?" Sounds very similar. His father said, "It will soon be over." His father repeated it 3 times. "Don't worry, it will soon be over. It will soon be over. It will soon be over." But this official, this minister, this guy who got so shocked, he got so stunned because he thought that his father suggested the Qing dynasty will soon be over. And only 3 years later, because his father repeated it 3 times, and 3 years later, the dynasty collapsed after 267 years ruling the country. Okay, let's continue to see a little bit more of this movie. The little boy is walking out of the palace. He's walking in the middle, the central ramp, which still remains close to the public. But back in the day, the central ramp was reserved for the emperor only. Nobody allowed walking in the middle, even now. And he's walking out of the palace and overlooking this square, where all those officials are kneeling down, perform kowtow to this boy emperor. Okay, and there's a sedan chair placed in the middle. The sedan chair used by the emperor. Even inside the Forbidden City, the emperor will be carrying around. And the marble passage, the passage covered by the yellow carpet, is reserved for the emperor only. Nobody allowed walking in the middle. Okay, so that's the last emperor. And this is the real image of the last emperor. This is a real picture of the last emperor.
What age? 6 years old?
16 and 60. He married at the age of 16, and he was freed out of prison at the age of 60. So there's the emperor. He made to leave the Forbidden City in 1924, and then he left for Tianjin. Later on, he was made as a puppet emperor under Japanese control, known as Manchuria, and he was captured by the Red Soviet Army at the end of the Second World War, and he was sent back to China after the founding of the People's Republic of China. So are you aware of the year of the time when the People's Republic of China established? 1949. And then he was kept in the prison for another 9 years. And he was given an amnesty and freed out of the prison. And he received a job from the Botanical Garden as a gardener. He was a gardener. And he wrote a very famous book titled From the Emperor to Citizen. And he passed away in 1967 at the age of 61. He was kind of lucky compared to his counterpart in the Ming Dynasty. He was kind of lucky. He died of those general regular natural disease, that of the kidney cancer, but his counterpart in the Ming Dynasty, who died at the age of only 34 by hanging himself under a tree. Okay, he was kind of lucky because most of the emperors at the end of each dynasty didn't end up well. Either kill themselves or be killed or be captured and tortured, being tortured to death. But he has no children. The last 3 emperors in the Qing dynasty, none of them has a child. Seems like the destiny to the Qing dynasty. Yeah, the last 3 of them, none of them has a child. Seems like that foreshadows the decline of the dynasty. Okay, and the reason why he was the emperor, his father was not the emperor. His father has to kneel next to this boy emperor because the emperor before him had no son, and he was selected by this lady, Empress Dowager Cixi. She refers to another nickname as the Dragon Lady. She was very powerful. She actually held the power. She picked up this boy to be the new emperor of the country instead of the father, because the boy is easily to be manipulated rather than being an adult. Make sense? Okay? And also, this building is the tallest building in the Forbidden City in terms of the height, as well as in terms of the rank. That building carries 11 mythical figures on the corner eaves of that building. 11 is the maximum of the building. So that one has how many mythical figures does it has? 2, 4, 6, 8. The one in the back with the horn, that one doesn't count. So that one has 8. 11 is the maximum. Let's have a look at those 11 mythical figures. You see? 11 of them. Throughout the whole country, only this palace carries this mythical figure. This little figure is considered as the god of thunder. He has a pair of wings and wielding a hammer for controlling the lightning. If there are any fire emergencies took place in this area, who is capable of bringing the rainwater down to put out the fire? Okay, 11 of them. The first one is a man riding a rooster, followed by the Chinese dragon, phoenix, lion, heavenly horse, seahorse, 酸泥鸭鱼蟹之斗牛行石. 11 of them, none of them is real. They are all the mythical figures and doing such duties of warding off the evil spirit of the palace and to protect the buildings from catching fire. Apparently, they didn't work very well. Because the original building was built in 1420, it was struck down by lightning only 100 days after its completion. The current palace was rebuilt in 1695. Although it is old, it is not the original one from the first version. This is the 5th version in the history. From here, we can view 3 tallest buildings in Beijing from 600 years ago till now. 600 years ago, that palace which we just visited, that's the most important as well as the tallest building in Beijing, built above the ground. So that is the Hall of Supreme Harmony. 20 years ago, there's a building standing on the western part of the city with a long spire on the top of the building. You see that building? That is the China Central Television Station, 405 meters tall. Used to be the tallest 20 years ago. Now, that building over there, built in 2018, now that building is the tallest building in Beijing, 530 meters tall, with 108 floors standing above the ground and 7 floors below the ground. Okay? And there's a clock tower, clock tower, stay on the top of that building. That is, you've been there yesterday? That's a part of the pedestrian street, a part of the shopping street, where it's considered as the 5th Avenue of Beijing, very famous pedestrian street or shopping street, where it gathers more than 1,000 restaurants or the stores in that area. I would recommend you to go over there to grab something to eat tonight or tomorrow. Very interesting place. You'll be seeing those Peking duck, hot pot, dumpling, as well as the noodles restaurant in there. Those are the most famous popular cuisines in Beijing. Okay? Peking duck, hot pot, dumpling, as well as the Beijing style noodles.